Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Cluiche with me, Seamus, Brady, your host. And in this video, I'm going to run through Dublin beating Kerry to win the All-Ireland football title in the LGFA Senior Final in 2023. The Dubs got the job done, winning by 18 points to Kerry's a goal and 10. An absolutely outstanding performance by Dublin, All-Ireland Senior Football Champions for 2023. This is the 6th title that Dublin have ever won. This was the first ever senior ladies football final between Dublin and Kerry, and the Dubs, in my opinion, dominated a lot of this game. Like, they really did. And I was sitting there in Croke Park absolutely bewildered at how much Dublin looked in control in the first half. That's just the honest truth. I couldn't believe how just Kerry were doing nothing that they'd done in the championship up to this point. They weren't moving the ball quickly. They weren't getting the ball into the forwards quickly. They were kicking it to Louise Hertig and hoping that she'd do the rest. And it wasn't working. Leah Caffrey was so good on her right from the start. Dublin hit 2 points in the opening minute to set the tone from Hannah Tyrell and from Orla Nolan. In the 12th minute, Louise Hertig got a goal chance for Kerry. She should have scored it, but she blazed it over the bar. And that made it 5 points to 3 in favour of Dublin. And for 16 minutes from then on, Kerry didn't score. And Dublin went in, pushed on. Like, they just absolutely went on to dominate from here. And they went in at halftime 11 points to 4 ahead. The scores came in floods from Jennifer Dunn, Caoimhe O'Connor, and especially Hannah Tyrell, who finished the game with 8 points. Just an unbelievable performance. And, like, when you actually look at Tyrell, like, she's arguably one of the best athletes, like, we produced. Like, it's, when you look at what she's achieved, what she's won in general, it is ridiculous. Like, she's won an FAI Cup with St. Catherine's. She's played for Shamrock Rovers. She's won Six Nations Glory in 2015. And now she's won an All-Ireland title with Dublin, which is absolutely remarkable. And it's just like, how does she keep checking off boxes left, right, and centre of things to achieve and things to win? And now she's won the All-Ireland football title as well. And not only did she win that, but she won it as such an integral part of this Dublin team. She was the finisher. And that's what I'm going to get onto in my match analysis of why I think Dublin won this game quite convincingly. In the second half, Kerry started better. Both sides hit 4 points each in the third quarter. Dublin withstood a potential comeback from Kerry. Like, I was sitting in the stadium, I did start to think at the start of the second half that it looked like Kerry were starting to potentially build a little bit of momentum. Carla Rowe got a crucial point, which just kind of checked the momentum a little bit. Then Niamh Heatherton got a crucial score. Kate Sullivan got one too, and Carla Rowe got another one. And that really stopped Kerry's momentum. Kerry hit 4 points in that third quarter as well from Louise Hertig Freeze and a point from Niamh Carmody. But the fact that Kerry had probably had their best spell of the game so far and Dublin still matched them in the quarter wasn't a good sign going into the final one. Kerry decided then to spring Síofra O'Shea, like a really, really desperate measure, in my opinion. I know it's the All-Ireland final and you are losing and you do have to throw your last roll of the dice in that situation, but Síofra O'Shea was basically on one leg. Like, she's absolutely destroyed her cruciate this year. And to throw her in and to basically expect her to turn the game around by herself or to win the game by herself wasn't really the right thing to do. And look, don't get me wrong, I have no doubt that Síofra would have wanted to have been thrown in, because there's nothing worse than sitting and watching your team lose an All-Ireland final from the sidelines and you can't do anything about it. But the reality is she was like nowhere near fit enough to be on that pitch. And she came in and she was quiet because she was injured. Now, in the 55th minute, Louise Hertig punched home a potential lifeline goal for Kerry. But Dublin pushed on to control the last few minutes, hanging onto the ball, closing the game out. And with the last play of the game, as the seconds ticked down to when the hooter went off, Carla Rowe spotted a gap and went at the Kerry defence. And when she was within range, she fired over the last score of the day. And the hooter went, and Dublin were All-Ireland champions for 2023. It was an outstanding point from Carla Rowe to finish the game off. And what an amazing moment. The fact that the ball goes over the bar, that's it, game over. Unbelievable. And the question that you have to think is, why? Like, why did that happen? Why did that happen to Kerry? They'd been so good up until this point. Why did that happen? Why did they not turn up? I genuinely left that game yesterday. I was watching that game for long periods. I think Kerry, if I was to put a figure on it, I think Kerry gave at best 60% of what they're capable of. 50% probably. I think they were nowhere near what they can do. And it's that type of thing that, look, is that because of Dublin? Yeah, a lot of it is because of Dublin. But I think a lot of it as well is down to the pitch. That just is the truth. I think a lot of it is down to the pitch. When you look at Parnell Park, if you've ever been, Parnell Park is tight, it's enclosed, and that benefits Kerry in two ways. Number one is they're physically bigger than Dublin. I think player for player, size for size, they're physically bigger than Dublin. You look at around the midfield, I know Dublin have the likes of Jennifer Dunn, but Kerry have big physical players like Emma Costello and Lorraine Scanlon, Louise Galvin, Hannah O'Donoghue, Danielle O'Leary. Like, they got stuck into Dublin in Parnell Park, and in particularly in the first half, they really knocked Dublin around. The second thing is that Louise Verhertig is closer to the goal. Like, she does so much damage at the provincial grounds because she's close to goal. I don't necessarily think she's the fastest player. And she needs to time her runs the same way Hannah Tyrell was timing her runs in the first half and swinging over points for days. Kerry did not do that in this game. The only time I saw Louise get a hand pass off the shoulder was for the goal chance that she should have taken. That's the only time I saw her come off the shoulder and get a hand pass, get laid up. The rest of the game, particularly in the first half, Kerry were just kicking the ball into her and hoping that she'd do the rest. That doesn't really work, especially not with a defender as tough and as durable as Leah Caffrey. Whereas when you look at Croke Park as a pitch benefits pace so much. And when you look at Dublin, Jennifer Dunn, Lauren McGee, Niamh Donlan, the half forward line of Caoimhe O'Connor, Kate Sullivan and Orla Nolan, they can burst through. They can see the line, the gap in the line, and go. And what they were doing in the first half was so much of that. Jodie Egan was another one that was breaking the line a lot. They spotted gaps, they went through them, and they laid the ball off to Hannah Tyrell or Carla Rowe, and particularly Tyrell finished off every chance that she was getting. And that's why I predicted Dublin to win this game, because I said, look, styles suit certain pitches more. And I think Dublin's style suits Croke Park's pitch more. I think Dublin's pace is going to win them this game. And Tyrell and Rose finishing, I don't think Kerry can deal with that. And they couldn't. They couldn't deal with it. Tyrell was taking every chance that she was getting. And like, that is it. Like, what will Kerry think when they leave this game? Will they think, like, did they leave it behind? No, Dublin were by far the better team. But the thing that would annoy me if I was one of those players is they didn't play to the best. It's one thing to lose the final if you gave everything you had. And you can think, you know what? We gave everything we had. They were just better. Like, you look at last year, Meath. Kerry played well in that final, but Meath were just better. This year, Kerry didn't play well. They didn't. And that's why they'll be kicking themselves when they watch this game back, because like, Dublin were fantastic, don't get me wrong, and Mick Bohan deserves huge credit when you look at the fact that he's introduced 17 new players into the squad over the year. Like, that's unbelievable. And so many key players have left. Ciara Trant in goal, Sinead Goldrick, Siobhan McGrath, Lindsay Davey, Niamh McAvoy, Aoife Kane, all these key players from years gone by were not there this time. And Mick Bohan was still able to rebuild Dublin into All-Ireland champions. That takes huge ability, and he deserves huge credit for doing that. So Dublin are All-Ireland football champions for 2023. My player of the match, no doubt, Hannah Tyrell for me. Look, Leah Caffrey, absolutely close shout in there as well. Jennifer Dunn is another one that I think was outstanding. But for me, Tyrrell's finishing is what really pushed Dublin ahead. And I think if she had had an off day, I think Kerry would have been able to hang on in the game a lot longer than they did. So that, yeah, for me, Tyrell was who put the daylight between the two teams. And for me, she takes a player of the match. So if you've joined us late here on the channel, I'm going to do my recap of the game itself. So Dublin are All-Ireland football champions for 2023 after beating Kerry in the senior LGFA final by 18 points to a goal and 10 in Croke Park. Dublin were absolutely outstanding as they clinched their 6th All-Ireland senior title. I was blown away in the first half by how in control Dublin were. In the 12th minute, Louise Verhertig blazed a goal chance over the bar. That made it 5 points to 3 in favour of Dublin. And for 16 minutes after that, Kerry didn't score and Dublin took over. Hannah Tyrell in particular, unbelievable. Finished with 8 points. What a performance from her. At halftime, it was 11-4 to the Dubs, and I couldn't have been more confident we were going to push on and win. In the second half, Kerry started a bit better, but both sides hit 4 points in the third quarter. In the 55th minute, Louise Verhertig punched on a potential lifeline goal for Kerry, but Dublin managed that situation fantastically, and Carla Rowe struck over a point with the last kick of the game. Dublin are All-Ireland football champions for 2023. We've done the double, up the Dubs. What a fantastic performance by the girls. Player of the match, Hannah Tyrell. Yeah, congratulations. What a victory. So, guys, that is my recap and review of this game. Dublin All-Ireland football champions for 2023. Could get used to saying that. So, guys, thanks so much for joining me here on the channel. Until the next one, take care.